Natalie, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to Popternative.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And we are talking about Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which is
Yeah.
gonna, by the time this interview is out, I mean, this is crazy. I mean, first of all, just from the trailer, I guess a lot of people are thanking you for the nightmares. So thank you for the nightmares.
That's so funny. I feel like they are, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we know how audition processes work. Sometimes they tell you a lot of times they don't tell you anything. Do you know you're auditioning for The Mummy? Like, what did you know about the project when you were reading for it?
I feel like I remember it saying something about it, but I had no prior knowledge about the project. And I had had like four other auditions at the same time, so I really wasn't like fully focused on it. I remember auditioning for it and just thinking, oh, this is like a cool concept. And then, like a day after I did the audition, they wanted to have a callback. So it all happened really fast.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, right? Because at some point, then you get the role and you find out what it's going to be, and you're a mummy. And you get there, right? And I feel like it's interesting because I always ask about the script to screen, but I feel like this is like script to hair and makeup chair to screen, right?
Yeah,
Right? So
totally.
what was that like? I feel like that was its own journey too, right?
It really was because the makeup itself went through so many different phases. We had like obviously a couple test days. I remember the first team of people I met were the makeup team. I went to LA to do like a 10-hour makeup test just for them to approve the makeup. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed. There were so many different phases. And then within the movie, there's three different phases of makeup too. So that was a major part of the character.
I feel like, from an acting storyteller perspective, sometimes you think about these things and sometimes you don't, but you're part of a kind of big universe. Horror movies are the biggest movies that come out now. What is that
Yeah.
like for you, mindset wise, preparing for everything? Because you're preparing for your character, but you're also preparing to kind of enter this massive landscape, so to speak. Was it kind of a push and pull, but thinking about it, not thinking about it? What was that like, wise for you, like thought process wise?
Really, I feel like I was so involved in the character and making sure that what Lee wanted to come across was being created that I didn't even really think about the fact that I'm stepping into this entire new universe and a universe that's kind of already been created, so people are going to have like other opinions about it. But now that it's over and filming is over, it's probably all I think about. It's very daunting.
I feel like people like yourself that are in this casting situation where you're joining something that is like, a reimagination or a kind of continuation or a sequel to an already existing universe, it's a unique casting situation because there's familiar territory and unfamiliar territory at the same time. Did it feel like that going into this whole process where you know what was going on, but at the same time you had no idea what was going on? It's pretty interesting.
I had no idea what was going on at all, like the entire time. I mean, especially this is just so different than anything we've seen
Yeah.
before. The writing, I remember when I first read the scripts, like it gives nods to like the older movies maybe and like things we've seen in the past, but it's a new creation. So I really couldn't put together like, oh, he got the inspiration from this or this. Like he really just created this whole entire new idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Take me through wrapping this project because you talked about, the makeup chair and everything. It was a big kind of
Mhm.
journey. I feel like the, feelings that you get depending on, well, you're always going to, it's always bittersweet to wrap a project because it was
Yeah.
a big part. You were on this project for, months and then you wrap and then it's out of your
Mhm.
hands. And at some point it's going to be out and it's going to be out by the time this interview's out, it's out in theaters now. But is it like, do you need a break? Are you like, let's go to the next horror movie? Like, what's that like when you wrap The Mummy?
It took me, I would say, about a month just like to emotionally and physically recover. Because not only I had to deal with the makeup and the process of that, like that's very exhausting, but also the stunts. I did all my own stunts.
Wow.
So physically I was just exhausted and I would have dreams every single night about the character. I would like speak in my sleep. I would scream in my sleep. I probably woke my parents up so much. But like it took so long for it to kind of get out of my system because I
Mhm.
was so locked into the character for the almost 80-day shoot that we had. It just became a part of me.
I feel like being able to prank people, like what like spooky season wise, I'd be like, you got to go back and get all the hair, makeup, prosthetics. I mean, like that would be a big prank to get back into that. Like it doesn't even
That
look
would
like
be
you a
so
lot of
fun.
times.
Yeah, that would be really fun. I want to see if they do any type of like Halloween costumes. I want to see if people dress up as the mummy for
Oh, I think
Halloween.
they will. Especially it's kind of a cool. I think it's, but also the trailer, a new trailer case. You know how it is. They put the one trailer out, and then
Yeah.
this new trailer really features a lot of
Mm,
scariness,
gore,
right? You know,
gore.
what was it like, kind of seeing the trailers start to come out, so to speak? Because we obviously can't talk about people going to see it in theaters because,
Yeah.
like, but
Mhm.
like, what's it like seeing the trailers finally coming out?
It was very shocking. It felt like almost because the role is such a part of me, and I think it always will be, it kind of felt like the inside of my brain was just out on display for everyone to see. It felt very vulnerable. So I think when the first one came out, I kind of had like a freak out moment. Like I didn't know how people were going to react. It's very scary to be so vulnerable in a role and then have it just out. The entire world can see it. Anyone can view it and put judgment or opinions to it. But by the second one, I was just really excited for people to see it because I'm proud of the work and the editing and everything. Like the whole film is just a masterpiece, in my opinion. So I'm really excited for people to see that.
Absolutely. There's always going to be learning experiences in any project you're on. I feel like there's a
Mhm.
lot of things on this because you're working on something big. You talked about Lee and everything. This is kind of a new imagination of the mummy. What were big kind of storytelling, acting, learning experiences on this project that you'll be able to take for future projects, specifically, Natalie?
That's a great question. I think the main thing, I went into it thinking that I needed to know every single thing about my character and every single thing in each scene, like day one. Like I needed to have, I'm a very organized person, so I thought that like I need to have a spreadsheet of everything I'm gonna do. And it was my first big film, so I had a lot of pressure because I'm leading the film and it's just this new experience that I've never done before. I think Lee really helped me kind of calm down and realize, like, hey, it's one step at a time. It's a marathon. You have to pace yourself. You're going to learn different tools every single day. Because I was there a month before everyone else for prep time. And I think that really helped me get into the mindset of taking everything that I learned and kind of creating my own toolbox so that when the time came to do those scenes, I was prepared because I had done all the pre work.
Absolutely. Horror movies, because there's a lot, you're in the moment, you're not really thinking about a lot of things, and a lot of things we see on screen, you don't really see much of that and everything. But like, were there moments for you? I'm sure, like, if I talk to your cast, they're gonna tell me moments where you scare them a lot. But like, were there moments where it felt scary for you to film this movie at all?
Not scary in the way that people probably think. Like, I didn't ever really scare
You
myself.
probably scared a
Um,
lot of people. There's no way you
I
didn't.
Yeah, I think I did, yeah. I remember there would be scenes where they would yell cut and then everyone would just kind of be like standing around like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" But yeah, I think just like the stunts, that's really scary to get into that. I really love it now, but the stunts and just how physical the role was, it was very daunting to take on that as a first big role.
Mhm. And then obviously, in the trailer, the voice of your character and everything, like, oh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, how did you we talked about kind of, the aesthetic and the makeup, but like, how did you prepare for a lot of that aspect of it as well?
That all just kind of came instinctively. I remember in the audition process, I did one of the scenes for, it was when I had to sing like this creepy song. And I remember doing it in a very high-pitched voice, and they just kind of liked that. I think that probably sparked ideas for Lee. So he wanted me to lean into that and for me to sound younger. And my voice is actually like pretty high-pitched normally. So it all just kind of came together while like we were doing the makeup and we were doing all the tests. It kind of just flowed.
Absolutely. Last two questions before we wrap. I mean, it's one of those things where, I know when you're like you're making this movie, you're really not thinking about the audience much, right? Now is kind of when you think about the audience, right? Because people are gonna be able to
Mhm.
see it and everything. But I'm just wondering in general now compared to 4 or 5 years ago, where I feel like the audience member is very fascinating because there's so many different ways audience
Mhm.
members can consume the content, right? They can watch it on their phones, they can go to movie theaters, film festivals, streaming services. Are you thinking about the audience a lot more as a storyteller actor these days, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking about like how is this gonna look if someone watches it on a phone, like, and then on apps too. Like, I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, "I'm too scared to see it in theaters. I'm gonna wait until it's on streaming." Like, there's just so many different options now. I think when anyone's creating a movie, they have to take that into account and kind of have like a perspective of the viewer because there's just too many options.
Absolutely. Talk about also, last question, working on something that has a lot of elements at play in regards to it has kind of the horror thriller component. It's got the mystery. Of course, the thing that like always comes to mind with this one, with this mom, like Lee Cronin's Mummy, is like the family, right? Like that's like
Yeah,
the main thing. What's that like
yes.
seeing all those elements in the script and then going to film it? Like, what's that like specifically?
I mean, the script did such a wonderful job. I remember first reading it and just being so encompassed by it. I That's what made me want to do the role in the first place is just the writing of it and then seeing it evolve and seeing the cast come together and it was cast perfectly in my opinion. I think the family like you really feel the family unit in it and if we didn't have that it wouldn't work at all. So I think all of those elements coming together it works perfectly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And can't wait for people to see Lee Cronin's The Mummy in
Yeah,
theaters, which is so excited. Congratulations. You know, I'm so
thank
happy for you
you.
and the cast. Thank you so much for your time. It was so great chatting with you.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Your Instagram account is just your name, right? If people want to keep up to date with everything.
Yes, it's Natalie underscore Grace underscore.
Amazing. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popturn for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Natalie Grace. We can catch in Lee Cronin's The Mummy and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.